Good evening. Tonight, tributes are pouring in for George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st president of the United States, who died today at the age of 94.
His family announced the sad news tonight. ABC's Karen Travers begins our coverage with this look back at the life and many accomplishments of George H.W. Bush.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
George Herbert Walker Bush was sworn into a world he called rich with promise.
For a new breeze is blowing, and a world refreshed by freedom seems reborn.
The 41st president and his presidency were shaped by the upheavals of the 20th century. He was born June 12, 1924 in Milton, Massachusetts. His father was a bank manager who was later elected to the U.S. Senate. His mother was the daughter of a New York editor. George Bush grew up in privilege, attending the best private schools. On his 18th birthday, he enlisted to fight in World War II, becoming the youngest pilot in the U.S. Navy. He flew 58 combat missions, but in September of 1944, he was shot down by enemy fire and later plucked from the Pacific by an American submarine. The young pilot was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and sent home. As the war ended, Bush married Barbara Pierce and began his career in college, excelling academically and athletically at Yale. In 1948, the young Bush family left New England and moved to South Texas, where Bush became a success in the oil industry. In 1966, he put that career on hold when he ran and won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives.
I know you and I share a lot of worries about the future of our state and nation.
Bush failed twice to win election to the Senate, but he was appointed to a series of high-profile positions.
This is indeed a great honor for me, of course.
President Nixon chose him to serve as ambassador to the United Nations and then as ambassador to China.
I don't view political experience as a detriment, Mr. Chairman. I view it as an asset.
In 1974, Bush became the director of the Central Intelligence Agency.
I am a candidate for President of the United States.
And in 1980, he decided to run for president, but he was eclipsed by Ronald Reagan, who eventually chose Bush as his running mate.
It was a total surprise. I thought that there'd been speculation I might be a VP selection, but that all was overshadowed by the common wisdom at the moment that President Ford would be selected to be the running mate.
After 2 terms in the Reagan administration, it was Bush's turn, facing opposition in the Republican primaries from Robert Dole and in the general election from Michael Dukakis.
It's going to be the Joe Azuzu of American politics.
Is this the time to unleash our one-liners?
That answer was about as clear as Boston Harbor. Now,
Bush made a promise he would later break.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
But progress on his watch was felt around the world. The fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of communism in Eastern Europe, and perhaps most notably, the liberation of Kuwait after the Iraqi invasion.
A line has been drawn in the sand.
Despite his popularity after the Gulf War, President Bush failed to capitalize on the goodwill of the public. A faltering economy and a growing budget deficit eventually weakened his presidency. And in 1992, Bush was defeated by Bill Clinton. With the election of George W. Bush in 2000, the senior Bush joined John Adams in a small, elite group, presidents whose sons were also elected to the White House. The proud father seemed to shun the spotlight, making news largely with a new favorite pastime, parachute jumps.
And I like it. I like the feeling of it. At 80, you still got feelings. And I like that.
He devoted his retirement to helping others, raising money with President Clinton for Asian tsunami and Hurricane Katrina victims.
He easily could have chosen a life of comfort and privilege. And instead, time and again, when offered a chance to serve, he seized it.
In the end, Bush, like his son, insisted he would let history measure his legacy. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Condolences and expressions are pouring in tonight. Take a look. Former President George W. Bush said, "Our dear dad has died." George H.W. Bush was a man of the highest character and the best dad a son or daughter could ask for. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump joined with a grieving nation to mourn the loss of former President George H.W. Bush. Our hearts ache with his loss, and we, with the American people, send our prayers to the entire Bush family as we honor the life and legacy of 41 Former President Barack Obama declares George H.W. Bush's life is a testament to the notion that public service is a noble, joyous calling. It's a legacy of service that may never be matched, even though he'd want all of us to try. And California Governor-elect Gavin Newsom said President George H.W. Bush and his wife Barbara exemplified public service through decency, civility, and honor. The United States of America has lost a bright civic light tonight, and Jennifer and I send the Bush family and the nation our sincere condolences. Keep in mind, just hours after burying his wife, Barbara Bush, the 41st President of the United States was hospitalized back in April. The former president cried openly as his daughter consoled him. Some are convinced he might also have been suffering from a broken heart.
Their love was a constant in our lives. My dad is a phenomenal letter writer, and he would write Mom on their wedding anniversaries, which totaled an amazing 73 years. The last time my mom went into the hospital, I think Dad got sick on purpose so that he could be with her. That's my theory, at least. Literally a day later, he showed up with an illness.
The 73-year-long love story of Barbara and George was the longest marriage in presidential history, and many have declared on social media tonight the two are now reunited again.
I do think that you go to heaven, there is a heaven, and I don't fear it, though. When I was a little guy, I'd fear death, be scared. Not anymore.
Thank you for that, Chris. And something so many people say about President Bush is that his time as president was really just a small part of his incredible life of service, not only in politics. And one of the people who told us that is Vince Friend. He's a local wine importer, actually, who lives here in Fair Oak, who over the past several years has gotten to know the former president by helping and contributing to Bush's many philanthropic efforts. He said he's been to probably more than 20 events with the former president. And tonight we spoke to him on the phone about his memories of the president and what Bush's passing means to him. Take a listen.
Biggest impression that I have from President and Mrs. Bush both is what genuine, regular people they are. So I, of course, met them through the charity work that they do, which is, I think, something that perhaps isn't as well known about Mr. Bush, President Bush, because they really do not seek the spotlight. But the number of charities and the amount of money he raises is phenomenal, in my opinion, and the work he's done right up until this last dinner that I was at last week in Texas. They put so much effort into helping other people.
Yeah, so what does his passing kind of mean to you?
Well, it means a couple of things. I think it's the passing of an era, because they truly are from an era that's quite different than where we are today, to the point where he would insist on writing handwritten thank you notes for even very small gestures, things of that nature. So I think we're seeing really the passing of an era, and he was truly one of the greatest of what we like to call the great generation. And unfortunately, we're losing many such people, but a World War II hero shot down, and he was a hero in so many ways throughout his presidency. And I think importantly, he set a great example for his post-presidency with all the great work he did, and didn't focus on politics. He focused on helping people, and the generosity of the family, and led by President Bush, was amazing.
Vince Friend, and another thing he told us about Bush that he noticed just from spending some time with him at these events is what a great sense of humor he had. That's something also, that many of us know. I asked him about, that relationship as well between Bush and his wife, Barbara Bush, of more than 70 years. And Vince actually said he's been to some of the birthday parties with the ones that were Bush actually jumped out of a plane. And he said Mrs. Bush would always tease him about why he felt the need to jump out of a perfectly good and working plane. So they had just a really great banter, a really great relationship. We kind of saw it from afar, but Vince was saying it right there. You could see it up close. It was very real and true. It's a great man, and we certainly will be missed. And we thank Vince for sharing his memories with us. And you can find more information about the life and legacy of George H.W. Bush, including reaction from California leaders, on our website, abc10.com.
The most technologically advanced newsroom requires the fastest and most reliable network. The ABC 10 Information Network. Connected to you. Powered by Xfinity.
Absolutely terrifying moments in Alaska today when a 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck. The epicenter was just 5 miles from downtown Anchorage, Alaska's biggest city. Inside this home, you can hear the rumbling, a mother frantically searching for her son, grabbing him before rushing to safety.
Holy smoke. Can you get out of there?
For several hours, the city's airport shut down. And before evacuating their tower, air traffic controllers waved off incoming planes.
Going around FedEx 49.
According to Caltech, there is not an early warning system in Alaska because the cost of a system depends on the area you have to cover, and Alaska is 4 times the size of California.
The earthquakes in Alaska have no impact on California. We want to make a pattern because we hate things being random, but the pattern isn't there.
Unlike tornadoes and hurricanes that experts can predict and push warnings to people in minutes or even days, earthquakes can't be predicted, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. But after years of research and development, several public universities and agencies are rolling out an early warning system called Shake Alert, which can warn users several seconds up to a minute from when shaking will begin. Richard Allen is the director of the University of California, Berkeley Seismology Lab and an author of the project. He says the system will save lives. Those warnings could give folks time to shelter in place, to stop trains from derailing, and to shut off valves to prevent gas leaks, to name a few benefits. The system will first be tested by schools, hospitals, utility and public transportation organizations in the San Francisco Bay Area and Los Angeles. Meanwhile, in Alaska, we're told parts of a scenic highway that heads from Anchorage towards mountains and glaciers has sunken and completely disappeared following the earthquake. Many are without power in extremely cold conditions, but thankfully there are no reports of fatalities, as officials are warning recovery will take, quote, a long time.
All right, there are still 49 people missing after the Camp Fire tore through Paradise 3 weeks ago. Madison Meyer spoke with the daughter of one of those names tonight. And while she waits for an answer, volunteers are also working to find her and the other people on the list.
The list is smaller as time ticks on.
Really hoping something will pop up.
And for families who are waiting, it feels like forever.
It's not really like her to not communicate, something, whatever it is.
3 weeks have gone by. And still no word from her.
No word at all.
Isabel Sism's biological mom, Sarah Fabila Martinez, is missing from Paradise. Her name is one of 49 on the list of unaccounted for.
I'm really hoping that she's still alive, that she's just somewhere, because somebody has to know something.
Isabel says they didn't talk often, but she's still her mother. She's submitted her DNA to detectives, but she's still waiting and praying.
We really are praying as a family that, she's out there.
Hundreds of people have been found safe. Isabel is hopeful knowing that. Volunteers have been working tirelessly to reunite families.
At this point, we're not going to give up yet.
Nancy Collins is one of those volunteers. They call themselves Search Angels.
The passion is always the same thing. It's to help reunite a family. It's, giving closure to somebody that had questions, and now they can go to sleep at night and know their loved one is safe.
So far, they've found more than 200 people who were reported missing by connecting to people on a Facebook page called Campfire Missing Persons, Paradise, California.
Instead of boots on the ground, it's wings on the keyboard, they say.
In that group, you'll find photos of Sarah and support for her family in the search.
I doubt that nobody knows where she is. So if anybody hears anything, please, let us know, just where she's at.
Madison Meyer, ABC 10 News.
I'm sure it's that unknown that is just so upsetting and frustrating right now for so many. All right, thank you, Madison. And as Camp Fire survivors try to adjust to life in this new normal, part of that is going back to work and going back to school. Students in Butte County will be going back to school for the first time since the fire this Monday. But with so many displaced students, it's been a challenge to figure out where everyone should go. Take a listen.
More than 3 weeks since the Camp Fire devastated parts of Butte County, on Monday, thousands of students and their teachers will be going back to school.
It's been a really heartfelt thing is that the kids want to stay with their teachers, the teachers want to stay with their kids, the kids want to stay with each other.
But finding that sense of normalcy isn't going to be easy. At least a dozen schools were damaged or destroyed by the Camp Fire. The ones still standing won't be ready for months or even longer.
I don't even know what to expect.
To accommodate all the displaced students, county educators, some who lost their own homes in the fire, are working tirelessly to find gyms, churches, any open space wherever they can.
We're restructuring and rebuilding to serve as many Butte County students as we can.
Paradise High School says they are planning for students to meet at the Chico Mall. Both Achieve and Home Tech charter schools will be using converted space at Chico's Life Church. Students in Concow's Golden Feather Union School District will start classes at this newly reopened school near Oroville, which had been closed since 2010 due to low enrollment. And students from Core Butte Paradise will be squeezing into extra space at this Core Butte charter school in Chico.
The next 2 weeks, what this will look like, if you were just to walk in not knowing, it would probably look like a day camp kind of situation. Teachers will be here greeting their students. Students will come in, find their teacher.
On top of space constraints, some students have expressed concerns about their new commutes. Students at Megalia's decimated Ridgeview High will now be going to class at the Chico Boys and Girls Club. But due to road closures through Paradise, getting there could be difficult and dangerous. This is what it looked like Thursday in Butte Meadows on the drive from Megalia to Chico.
We have to keep in mind that every single student in this community has been affected.
Despite the challenges, educators are determined to make the transition back to school on Monday as seamless and comfortable for students as possible.
And that's what I see with all of the teachers that I've been working with too. They're going to just do whatever it takes to make it work. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. Nobody's done this before, and that good is going to be good enough, and we're going to make it better every single day, and we're going to strive to come back together as a community.
And again, students will be back to school on Monday. And as far as that commute that you saw there through Butte Meadows, the hope is that later next week, the roads through Paradise will reopen, and then students will have a more direct, safer way to get to Chico. All right, taking a live look at the Bonnie backyard. It is cold tonight with showers back for Saturday.
Oh, it's going to be a cold one tomorrow morning, but we're also going to have some showers, so that's going to help actually prevent us from getting too cold for tonight. The cloud cover keeps the warmer air a little closer to the surface, so we'll eventually start things off right around 45 degrees. You can see as we start to pick up that cloud cover, look what happens to the temperatures. They actually go up ever so slightly, so we'll see our coldest readings right around 1 a.m. at 43 degrees. High today 60, morning low of 42, so very similar to what we started off with for today. And that precip number at 2.5 inches is about to go up. Aaron sending a gorgeous California sun photo for us. The blue skies poking through from the cloud cover for today, and it just looks so clean outside right now with the recent rain. Weather Force at abc10.com or hashtag WXForce10. That's on Twitter. Okay, let's put this into motion here, see how things are going to develop. And by about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, here comes that band of rain. Now, what you're going to notice as I move this forward in time is that we'll continue to see the showers in the valley, but notice what happens in the Sierra. This is pretty steady all day long. Northern San Joaquin Valley still seeing some showers around noontime, but even that starts to clear during the day. But the Sierra will continue to see at least isolated activity through Saturday evening. And then heads up, if you're headed up the hill to do some skiing or snowboarding, perhaps on Sunday, might head up for the day without chains, but you may need them on the way back home because of some snow showers reappearing in the forecast. So I just want to make you aware of that, because I know many times you go up, it's blue skies, and then all of a sudden, whoa, my goodness, what happened here? We got snow. All right, here's a look at how much rain we're going to see. Not a whole lot, only about 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 inch of rain. For the Sierra snow, it's going to be more impressive. We'll pick up about 6 to 24 inches of new snow. That's on top of almost 4 feet of snow for some locations after the round of recent wet weather. All right, temperatures right around 30 for the Sierra tomorrow. We'll be in the 40s to near 50 for the foothills. 5-day forecast. We've got the snow right back at us Tuesday and Wednesday after a break for the most part Sunday into Monday. And then for the Bay Area, highs in the 50s for tomorrow. Again, mostly a morning event with the rain. A few showers lingering into the early afternoon for the northern San Joaquin Valley, but clearing out of most of the Sacramento region by about noon. Into our Sunday forecast, we're dry but still cool, highs only in the low 50s, and then rain makes a return actually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
Welcome back. 18 recruits with Sac Metro Fire graduated tonight.
Yeah, their graduation comes 3 weeks after the campfire broke out, and Ananda Rochita spoke to them tonight.
My name is Nicole Barfnecht. I am a probationary firefighter with the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District.
This is something she's waited years to say.
Right now it doesn't feel true.
She wanted to be a firefighter 4 years ago and just wrapped up an 18-week academy.
So it's been kind of a journey to get here. I didn't always know that this is something I wanted to do. It was something that my mother had mentioned to me many years ago.
While she was going through training in the academy, graduates of Sac Metro Fire from June were sent out to the campfire.
We were deployed a couple weeks ago. We were out there for 16 days. It was something a lot of us probably never experienced to that magnitude. It was just completely different.
Nicole wasn't there, but like us, she saw the videos and all the destruction.
Fear, because that's natural, but you have to move past that when you realize what your goal is.
She says the job is more than a title. It's a calling.
If you focus more on what's at stake, people's lives, people's property, I really enjoy helping people. I enjoy going and making things a little bit better. This world is dangerous. There's no guarantees in life.
Firefighter Nicole Barfnecht.
A passion she's sharing with the rest of the graduates who will be starting off with Sac Metro Fire. In Citrus Heights, Ananda Rochita, ABC 10 News.
Hello and welcome into another week of Friday Night Football on ABC 10. I'm Lena Washington, and it is championship weekend for 6 divisions in the Sac Joaquin section playoffs tonight. Section titles on the line in divisions 5 and 6, so let's get right to the action. Starting in Grass Valley, Nevada Union High School hosting crosstown rivals Bear River and Colfax. 11 miles separating the two schools, meeting for the second time this season, where the Colfax Falcons upended the Bear River Bruins earlier this year, 41-14. Tonight, this one not nearly as close, or as lopsided, I should say. Very close, and it was cold. So how do you keep the game ball warm like that? Let's pick this one up in the first quarter. Bear River up 6-0, not for long. Colfax striking back quickly. Alex Weir dumping it off to Daniel Bliss. He does the rest of the work. Pure Bliss, 24 yards for the score. Falcons on top 7-6. The Bruins claw their way back, though. Calder Kunder to Trey Maronich, 31 yards on the touchdown. Bear River goes for 2. They take a 14-7 lead. Second quarter, Ware moving the chains, airing it out to Colton Reeves, setting up a touchdown pass. 2 plays later to Jake Green. Colfax tying the game at 14. Bear River took a 21-14 lead into the half. Colfax tied it up in the fourth to force not 1, but 2 overtimes. A shame this one had to end, but the Colfax Falcons are the D5 section champions in a classic. 31-28 is your final in double OT. What a season for both these teams. Now to the D6 title game. Let's get you out to Turlock, a neutral site for Ripon Christian, the 4 seed, taking on the defending champions Hillmar. The Yellow Jackets dominate the first half of this matchup. Isaac Sharp getting the second-seeded Yellow Jackets going with this touchdown run. He wasn't done. He scores again before the first half was over. Justin Renfro also scored 2 touchdowns for the Hillmar Yellow Jackets in the first half. They dominate the first half. They had a 28-0 lead before the first half was over, and they are your Division 6 Sac Joaquin section champions by beating Ripon Christian by a final of 57-14. Now be sure to check our ABC 10 YouTube page for extended highlights for tonight's games. We'll see you back here for more games, Divisions 1 through 4 tomorrow from Sac State to Whitney High School. We'll be back tomorrow for more high school football.